OpenAI and that guru from Apple now getting sued, claiming that they stole essentially billions of dollars of IP. And we know that OpenAI and Johnny Ive have joined forces. They released this photo of them, which is an interesting photo to release, where they told us that they were going to have the next big thing for us, right? AI plus the maker of the iPhone, the guy who revolutionized a lot of the design of our modern technological world coming together. What is this new device going to be? Oh my goodness. And they were very secretive about it. They did a podcast, a lot of people trying to figure out what was inside. Turns out they might have ripped the whole thing off from some other company that had already developed this and actually pitched it to them. So now OpenAI is being sued for this. And we're going to see where this one goes because it's a very curious battle happening in the Northern District of California. You see here, it is IO versus IO products. Look, it's almost like the same name, right? IYO versus IO. So in other words, Johnny Ive, Sir Jonathan Paul Ive, apparently just ripped it off and simplified it and just took out the Y on the name, right? Even just from the caption of the lawsuit. Okay. IO, let's get rid of the Y and just call it mine. And this dude has a lot of cachet, right? So Paul Ive worked directly with Steve Jobs and they created a lot of what people use today. Now they're being sued for stealing it, saying here, all claims are coming against Ive and Altman because of their willful infringement of our registered trademark. Beginning in or around March 2018, the team behind IO, the IYO, began their mission to bring natural language of computing to billions of people at Google X. They were overworking at the Moonshot Factory. Now, Google X is a research and development facility within Google that focuses on these secretive projects, breakthrough technologies to solve the world's biggest problems. So maybe not secretive. Google has another, I think Sergey Brin and Larry Page have their own little research arm where that's probably where we think we're doing the cloning. Now, during that time, the team invested $25 million on the project. So IO then spun out from Google X as a venture-funded startup. Since then, $37.2 million had been invested in developing the next generation of hardware. So they put a lot of time into this, which allows users to interact with their smartphones, computers, and AI and the internet without the use of screens, keyboards, mice, or other similar physical interfaces, right? So there's going to be this new thing that they say is coming that is better than the phone. We don't need the phones. We don't need screens anymore. You just carry it like a puck or something. The culmination of their time and investment came out in their latest product. It's called the IO1. The mark that they're saying they stole is IO1 Mark. Together with the mark, they have an ear-worn device that uses specialized microphones and bone-conducted sound to control audio-based applications with nothing more than the user's voice. In short, the IO1 is a revolutionary new kind of computer without a screen. It can run apps just like a smartphone, with the user simply speaking to them in natural language. The app also talks back to the user in natural language through the world's best audio display. And honestly, I don't know why. I feel like this is not going to catch like a phone does. I don't want to talk to something all day. Tell me about what's in my email. And you tell me, let me just scan. It takes 2 seconds to scan through it and then not answer for a while. I don't need somebody to tell me about that and then not answer the emails. I can just do a click on my phone online. It's a lot less harassing to have someone tell me about it. Anyways, exciting. You can ignore your email inbox. You don't want somebody telling you about what's respond to this email, respond to this email, respond to this email so that you're a better person. You don't want that. Excited about the impending launch of the IO1? And on the strength of pre-sales, they're manufacturing 20,000 units of this right now, engaged in a round of fundraising to take the company to the next level. Now, yet despite IO's rights in the mark, and despite widespread media attention that they received, their momentum was stopped dead. On May 21st, everybody saw, well, this is interesting. OpenAI said that they acquired a new company called IO. They dropped the Y, because Johnny Ive likes to simplify things. Formed with famed designer Johnny Ive for $6.5 billion. The purpose of IO is to develop hardware and related software, which allows users to interact with their smartphones, computer, AI, and the internet without the use of screens, keyboards, mice, or other similar interfaces. An image from their announcement is shown below, with these two just getting real close together. In hindsight, the actions are no mere coincidence by Johnny Ive and Sam Altman, saying that they have known about the existence of IO since at least 2022. And designers from Love From, which was Johnny Ive's design firm, who are working with OpenAI all knew about it too. Now, while OpenAI, Sam Altman's investment fund called Apollo Projects, and Love From, Johnny Ive, declined to pursue a collaboration with IO, they did look at the technology, right? So they're like, maybe you guys are developing AI. We've got this AI hardware, so how about we work together? They said, no, we're not interested. But they did keep tabs on them. For instance, the co-founder of IO is a guy named Tang Yutan, and another engineer from either Love From or IO ordered their initial product. They said, actually, let's order one of those and let's reverse engineer that. They also pre-ordered the IO 1. Then in the spring of 2025, OpenAI and Love From had additional meetings about the possible participation in the capital raise. We've got this little puck, it's got 30 million bucks invested into it. You want to invest in that? During those meetings, IO's vision, technology, and approach were shared. They gave him a full presentation. You want to invest in us? Drop $1 billion bucks. We're going to have this next device. It's going to be the new cell phone. All right. So it's going to replace everybody's cell phones. Not going to carry a cell phone around and be glued to that. Blue light, burn your brain out. Just talk to this device. It's going to be much more peaceful, simplify things for you. And 7 defendants were fitted with demo devices, right? They're all in there like, this is great. We're working out perfect. Based on these meetings, Ive and Altman stated to IO that they thought IO 1 had promise. I said, wow. And they outright asked IO to share with them its intellectual property embodied in the 1. They said, can you tell us how this is working? What's going on here? Then, after that, in the spring of 2025 in May, OpenAI said, we're going to buy IO, which is from Johnny Ive. Now, this announcement was published internationally, not the actual company, including the New York Times and almost every major publication. Everybody was screaming about this. Oh my goodness, what's this next thing? In other words, OpenAI, IO, and Sam Altman and Johnny Ive have just announced a significant collaboration in a new venture called IO, the name of which is a homophone of plaintiff's IO name. It's the same name. And the purpose of which is to launch a product whose function is the exact same, eerily similar and competitive with ours. Now, in so doing, Altman and Ive are blatantly and knowingly usurping IO's goodwill and confusing the registration of the marks. And due to their actions, we're going to lose our corporate identity, our goodwill, and reputation. IO is threatening to swamp us. They stole it, is essentially what they're saying. And now they're going to dwarf us on this. Then the inescapable conclusion here is that Johnny Ive and Altman chose the name IO and the timing of their announcements to harm us, swamping our marketing, swamping our manufacturing, to misappropriate themselves from all of the goodwill we've been generating since we started. After OpenAI's announcement, IO and its counsel notified OpenAI of the harm that they're suffering due to the name and asked them to cease using the name. Now, they declined to cease their infringement or otherwise attempt to reach a resolution. It's also noteworthy that they did not even try to provide a legal justification. They don't care. Like, we're OpenAI. What are you going to do? Accordingly, to protect its valuable marks, we're forced to sue. And of course, that's what's happening now. Now, here's some more details on the actual device that show it was ripped off. IO's most recent product is called the IO 1. It allows users to interact with their phones, computers, AI, and the internet without the use of screens or any other interfaces. Here's what it looks like. Here are images of the product. So it looks like an earbud, but it's big. Okay, look how big that puppy is. So you're gonna walk around with that hanging from your head all day? Yeah. Says, the IO product is designed to be an ear-worn device, though other embodiments have also been contemplated, like a pendant you wear on your neck. The device uses 16 beam-forming microphones to create an audio display, an immersive audio environment for both speaking and listening. 8 external microphones on each earpiece, arranged in a circular array pattern, perform a spatial capture of surrounding environment, enabling the IO 1 to pass sound through the ears in a way that feels immersive and natural. Oh, maybe it feels great. And if the user were not wearing any device, okay. Layering in an audio computing interface in virtual auditory space yields a form of mixed audio reality, where the user can hear what's happening around him or her and also engage effortlessly with audio apps. This achieves this through the use of natural language. The user does not have to know how to do anything special with words or gestures. All they gotta do is just talk, and then it just does it. In short, the IO 1 is a revolutionary new kind of wearable, screenless audio computer. It can run apps just like a smartphone, with the user simply speaking to them, and they use natural language. Apps can do a number of things. It's called Babel, real-time translation. Just translate somebody speaking in a foreign language, you can hear it. Owl is telescopic hearing in noisy environments. So you're in a mall, everybody's talking, you want to just hear the person right in front of you, it picks it up, filters everything else out, and just shows you the person. Sherlock, search for anything with just your voice. What's the price of tea in China? Anything you want to know, just pulls it up. No more unlocking your phone, Sherlock will find it. You've got DJ, music exploration, Savant. Deej uses natural language to control Spotify. You've also got other interfaces called Shell, which is the software. IO1 ensures privacy via voice pickup of the bone-conducted voice inside the user's ear canal. This allows the user and the apps to hear only the user, preventing it from being interrupted by other voices. So it's not hearing it out of your mouth, it's hearing it out of your head. IO is marketed for sale through their website. It's available for pre-sale to the public, going to be shipping later this fall. The pricing for the IO1 is $1,000 to $1,200. And again, do you want like this thing like just beaming electromagnetic things into your head all day? Like all day? Which, I don't know. IO is in the process of manufacturing an initial 20,000 units. Now, IO is at a critical juncture. Without raising the capital it needs, they're not going to be able to fund their manufacturing efforts, and we're going to die. Now, their trademarks have been now seized or infringed. IO was founded in 2021. Since then, they got 15 employees, 60 million invested. They've used their mark continuously in connection with this type of hardware. For instance, their first product, called the VAD Pro, both bear the mark, the IO mark. And that looks like kind of like a puck version, or maybe that's in the ear. It says through this use, they've established strong common law rights for the marks for a bunch of things. Smartphones, AI, the internet, no screens, all the things. They also own a federal trademark registration listed there. And they have a pending trademark application here for those things. And OpenAI has come in. They've got a lot of market share. They released ChatGPT in 2022. Then OpenAI joined forces with Apple in June 2024. Then OpenAI secured $6 billion in funding, being valued at $157 billion from a bunch of companies. Microsoft alone dumped in $13 billion to them. Then there was a joint venture to create Stargate. Trump announced that with $500 billion there. Now, unbeknownst to IO, they created a separate company. They saw what IO was doing and they created IO. It did not register as a business in California. It was operating in secret. In fact, then in May, they released Johnny and Sam Introduced IO. Until very recently, IO had no idea that Ives, Altman, and OpenAI formed a company to work together on this, but they knew about our technology. In fact, in February, IO attempted to recruit Evans Hankey, former Apple design chief, to work at the head over there. In March 2022, representatives from Altman's personal investment fund, they met with IO to discuss investment with their company. They obtained technical information, their vision for the future and everything, and then ripped it off. Then in April, another representatives of Apollo Projects visited our headquarters. We gave him everything. We told him everything. This is what our plan is. Here's our whole PowerPoint. Later that month, Cohen said, "I'm actually not that interested in investing with you. Thanks for all your inside information, though." Separately, in April, IO was introduced to Johnny Ives' company called Love From and met with them to see if Love From would help them do design work. So Johnny Ives has a whole design company, and they went to talk to him to go and help him design their product. And he's like, you know what? It's a great design. How about it's just mine now? After that meeting, Mr. Sharp stated that Love From did not want to pursue a collaboration as well. No, sorry, thanks, we're just going to steal it. On March, IO reached out to Altman again to request a meeting to pitch its strategic financing round. Altman responded the same day stating, "Thanks, but I'm working on something competitive, will respectfully pass." He then added, "Called IO." Mr. Altman, in a follow-up email, then quickly pointed the finger by stating that Johnny Ive is the one driving this. Now, at the time, IO did not appreciate that they were actually working to brand a company and competing products with an infringing name. It was too inconceivable to believe. So actually, Altman told them, it sounds like. Altman responded, "I'm already working. We're going to call it IO, so I can't invest in you because you're IYO." They said, what? On March 17th, a product designer named Marwan, who unbeknownst to IO, the OG company, worked for IO, purchased the VAD Pro and pre-ordered our products. Tang Yu Tan, the co-founder of the new IO, also pre-ordered the IO1. When placing those orders, Marwan used an email address called Presidio Tech to apparently hide his association with them. When Mr. Rama was fitted for his VAD Pro, he asked IO's fit specialist questions for over an hour. How do you work? How do you get fitted for this? Just scraping everything. Mr. Rama even asked for their design files. Can I see like your CAD files for this? What? No. Marwan now works for an IO design team with Johnny Ives, Tang Yutan, and Evans Hankey. They all just were siphoning off their IP and then formed their own company. On March 26, IO discussed with Mr. Altman the possibility. Why don't you just buy IO? Launch the IO 1 as a developer kit. He said an acquisition would come down to whether his team agreed, and we want to do that. In fact, Altman introduced Mr. Wallinder to IYO and stated that we should talk and see if it makes sense to team up. Then, 47 days before they announced their own competitor, they met to discuss Vision Screenless Natural Language. They're still meeting, and they're like, we're going to launch our competitor, so just get as much as you can. There was another such meeting the next week when Wallinder stated that IO should meet with one of the founders of IO, still working together. 41 days before they launched, this guy again pre-ordered the new one in May 24, almost a year earlier. Then, prior to launching this, they got fitted for the device, so maybe it's like a mold to your ear, so it just feels like it just like slides right in there, and you just forget about it. On May 1, 20 days before announcing their business, they'd met with several representatives. We had literally pitched them. 16 days before they launched their new business, we were meeting with them again. And then even 6 days prior to announcing this, their people were asking us to review IP through an air curtain. P.S. Is it possible to get our earplugs using? So they're launching a competitor. He's still siphoning from them. So then on May 21st, Sam Altman and Johnny Ives announced the existence of IO. Its $6.5 billion acquisition of IO by OpenAI, and its decision to make this new category of devices, which was theirs. The deal was reported to be OpenAI's largest acquisition to date. And it feels weird, like what was IO? Just like a fake company? Like why was it worth $6.5 billion? According to the press statement, two companies would merge to work more intimately on these projects. Johnny's going to do the design and Sam's going to do the AI. Now, the announcement on their website, which has since been removed, they came and scraped a lot of this off, says this is an extraordinary moment. Computers are now thinking, and it became clear we're going to have to develop our own product. In a video, which I watched, Sam Altman, he's a weird dude to watch, says has the opportunity to completely reimagine what it means to use a computer. The video also makes clear that IO is formed around a nucleus of employees from love from design, and that IO and OpenAI are merging for a new mission. The video also mentions that the existing devices people use are decades old. It's common sense to move beyond them. Altman specifically described the current method of using ChatGPT and saying we're at the limits of what we can do. Now, they're doing exactly what we were doing, and all of this irreparably harms us dramatically. They stole our name, they emailed us, we sent letters saying you can't use our name, you can't steal it. Altman responded and asked the founders to call him, which they did. IO's founder said, "Guy, what? You've stolen our name? You just took it." Deleted the Y. He also asked Altman whether defendants would agree to stop using it. Sam says, no, it's different. We were already thinking about it before you. He incredibly stated that IO would sue IYO to force IYO to stop using its name. We were thinking about it before you, punk. We've got billions of dollars. What are you gonna do? On June 2nd, IO's general counsel sent an email to Altman outlining our trademark rights. So you can't do that. General counsel had a phone call with their lawyer. Lawyers get involved. Huang responded at saying he could investigate, but now nothing's changing. And so investors are very concerned. Our capital raise was going well. They stole everything. It's not good. So here are our claims. Trademark infringement. We want attorney's fees. We want damages. We want them to cease using our IP and our mark. They've engaged in all of this willfully and intentionally. And so what we want in relief is judgment against them. Order them temporarily from using any term IO in their products. And they went and they scraped off their websites, like gone. An order requiring them to account for and pay for any profits that they gain, damages, corrective advertising. So they gotta go crash. Sorry, we stole the name from you. An order to pay the appropriate amount in punitive damages for their unlawful misconduct and thievery and bad behavior and other materials as deemed appropriate. Signed here, by attorneys from Mintz, Levin, Cohen, and Ferris over in California. So, interesting filing there. I'm interested in the tech, and you can certainly see that it is pretty brutal out there. Don't you have any sense of honor or integrity at all when you're dealing with this business? Is it just you just steal everything? And if you're just big enough, might makes right. I understand might makes right in international affairs because that's talking about war in the military. But how do you just steal the entire company, essentially, and just change the name after you've ripped off their product? Have you no shame? Anyways, maybe it's going to be a cool product. I don't know how I feel about putting something on my head that's beaming electromagnetic waves into my brain all day long. And I've already got to listen to my own voice in my own inner monologue. So I don't think I need another AI adding to that conversation because there's enough going on in there. All right, so my friends, maybe too much. So my friends, we'll keep our eye on this one. Interesting case. We'll see if the device is released, what happens next. Thank you for subscribing and joining as we do. All right, my friends, what a beautiful day it has been.